Hello, Commanders, and welcome to the RNG Endgame, a podcast about the game Marvel Strike Force. Your hosts are Frid and Creative. We're leaders in an alliance from a large cluster, and would like to share our insights with you to hopefully improve your gameplay and overall experience, and give you a little entertainment.
All right, Creative, here we are again for another episode, number 64. It's going to be exciting, I think, for you more than me. So I will get the gearing and leveling started, and I will go through it quickly so we can talk about what you've been up to. But I keep looking at the inventory spreadsheet and just kind of marvel at my riches, like all this stuff that I have, which is kind of surprising. But after you complete DD4 twice, that's kind of what happens. And I have kept spending as much as I can around that 2.7 million level. But the focus has been on the things that I'm working on, which are Doom raids. So I have been given my own lane, which starts with bio, and then skill, and then tech. So I have been working a lot on the skill side of things to make sure I have enough characters to get through that section cleanly, because I have a lane on my own. We share the boss. So with that in mind and all the materials that I had, Nick Fury has gone from 13 to 14 to 15. And I also did the Alt T4, which I had never done. You know, the...
Oh, right, the extra summon, yeah.
Yep, because with Kestrel, it's like a godsend, right? There's more attacks, more hits. And I also got to say, I brought him into Legendary DD4. I've been doing a run on that too, on the side, just kind of no pressure run. And he's pretty good on the nodes as well. The summons are distractions, and also the security can stun somebody. So I had a node that everybody was stunned. Just kind of keep everybody in control, and then you can extend that with Doc Ock or with Jubilee when you kill something. Actually, I don't know if the stun extends, but it's your play style. Like, you would love it because you control everything. Everybody's red. There's no cleansers. You're like, okay, I know what I'm doing here. So been enjoying that from Nick Fury, and he's okay on the skill nodes. The summons are not as good. There's a lot of AoE, and they seem to go away. And we all have not we all, but anybody that's been playing have a 5-star in Fury, right? Because we got
from one of those milestone
one of those events gave us a 5, so it'd be cool to have a 6 or 7, I would say, for the summons, because they're really helpful. But I'm enjoying Nick. I know you've been a long time fan of Nick Fury, so I'm sure you're excited about that. But I am not getting the ugly costume.
Yeah,
I'll
definitely
save
not.
my credits. Okay, another one of your favorites, I upgraded to tier 14, and that's the Mighty Yo-Yo. And also, right away, I got the stuff I needed. Not right away. I opened some orbs from the raid store, and 5 or 6 in, I got the little 5 shards that I needed to get her to 6 yellow stars.
So you spent raid credits to buy the character orb?
The 900, yeah.
Wow.
I have 100,000 raid credits.
Oh my goodness. Well, are you not buying like focus and health orange gear every day?
Not anymore.
Oh, right. You don't have to anymore. Wow, man.
I probably should. You're probably right. But I have 100,000 of those. Now, I'm not... If they bring an X Factor or something, I'm not doing this again. It was just like I was trying to get to I have the bio mini boss on Doom Raid, and there's a hybrid team with symbiotes and Yo-Yo and Black Bolt, but she kept dying, so I got a little desperate. But thankfully, I didn't spend like 20 grand. It was like 4,000 of those credits.
So how high is your Yo-Yo in terms of stars?
It's a 6 yellow, 4 red.
Wow.
Tier 14.
Okay.
And ISO level 4. I have the basic and the passive T4. I just got from the war store the last titanium, so I think she's going all the way. What do you think? Tier 15? Or maybe not. I don't know. I'm thinking about it.
Well, have you already done Red Guardian?
Yes.
Okay, so you've done all the key stuff. So I mean, Well, I keep going back to Heroes for Hire. There's some counters that have been thrown out there I haven't really gotten to test it out too much, but certainly Inhumans is one of those, and she's part of that key team. So there's going to be demand for Inhumans for sure, along with Kestrel and Silver Surfer. So
there is no character that does what she does, right? Where she puts offense down before you go, which is so frustrating.
Time, and dodges and dodges and dodges some more.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So I want the 5th red is what I feel like maybe.
Oof,
but
I don't know about that.
No, I'm saying I want it.
Okay.
So maybe tier 15 is another way to get to that. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't see what else bio is out there that would need it. But
well, you got to give people some context. You've already done all 5 of the symbiotes. You've done Black Bolt, so you're in you're definitely in a different place than I am, but certainly.
Yeah, like this is not for, again, this is the Frid show. We're talking about I don't think Yo-Yo is what you, obviously symbiotes is where you need to spend your bio material. Right. There's no doubt about that. But once you're through all of it, then it's like, okay, I'm looking at this other tier. I mean, she's still very unique, very top tier.
Yep.
In my opinion. Mm-hmm. The best Inhuman other than Black Bolt, without a doubt. Maybe Crystal? I don't know.
Crystal would be 3rd. Can't top Yo-Yo there, sorry.
Yeah. So that was that. And then also, this one I wanted to do sooner, but I got switched from the mutant lane, so Bishop is now tier 14.
Nice.
That's important for war. Make sure he doesn't die when he tanks against mercenaries, against Doc Ock and stuff. And just having the damage dealer at tier 14 and the tank is pretty good. So for that team, I have Jubilee at 15 and him at 14. Beast would be the next, but I'm going to hold on that for now. He does die in the alpha raid sometimes. So that is something I'm considering. But not for now. I need to revisit what I'm going to do mutant-wise. Okay, then 7-star upgrades for Yellow Jacket. And somebody that I never thought would be Nebula, which I've had for I don't know how long. So Nebula is 7 stars now. And I think I posted on this, but you get like 25 raid heals and not even a third of a premium orb for upgrading. I can't even remember how many characters to 7. So
oh my goodness,
that's something that needs to be addressed with these achievements, especially at the top end. All right, so then I started looking at the purple side of the house. Mm-hmm. And I had like 2,000 ABCs. I'm like, okay, I'm not going to be hurting for these anytime soon. So I did parking lot, which is T12. What we call that? Covered parking. To Polaris, Nebula, Winter Soldier, Gamora, Elsa Bloodstone, Iron Man, and Hydra Grenadier. Okay. All T12 now. And level 65. And I also did T11 on Colleen Wing. So I could do 12, but I'll do that next with Misty Knight. So the last update here is we have been Deadpool Alliance hitting 60% daily on the Doom Raid.
Wow.
So, and I have, like I said, the bio skill tech Mystic Mutant lane. So that's the bottom left, the first one. And I have a lane partner on the other side. So it's just 2 of us going through that. But we have been consistently hitting 60%. So, they're called the Raiders and they live up to their names. Deadpool Court Raiders. And cool. We do like to raid. So that was it. A lot of little things here and there. After DD4, it's kind of a dealer's choice. What do I do? Where do I focus? Trying to hedge with saving resources for the future, but actually shoring up things that you need for what you're doing today. So Creative, what about you? I think you have a better update than me.
I don't know. That was a lot of good stuff there. I mean, that's some good stuff. Well, for me, I have finally finished Dark Dimension 4. So I was definitely ready for that to be done. Obviously, I still have to go through it all over again, but I was definitely ready to be done. That final city node, the final legendary node, quite frustrating. I did do a couple refreshes on the city node and actually probably 3 or 4 refreshes on the legendary node, just because I was so tired of doing it. To get through city, I did bring in the 4th symbiote Carnage. So I will look at Venom now, just so I can try and attempt what you did, which was pretty darn impressive. I think you got through all of the city nodes and maybe 6 attacks or something crazy. I changed my tune, and I played nodes over and over again in City and in Legendary, just so I could get through things. On the Legendary nodes, I took in a team of Jubilee, Doc Ock, Ebony Maw, and Phoenix, because I ran out of biomats for Black Bolt. I couldn't bring him in. But I did notice that Boylon, who's another content creator, does a lot of YouTube stuff. He had the same team, so I did watch a lot of his videos. Very helpful to see it in action. I will say I was a little disappointed with Dutch Rudder's guide. I know he produced it months ago, and he didn't have Jubilee and things like that. But seeing someone else with the same team, where they're applying the stuns and then extending the stuns. It's really good to watch Boylon's video. So if anybody's considering Jubilee or a similar team, I would definitely recommend checking those out. It was helpful to help too. And I one-shot the first node and two-shot the second, and probably did 10 on the last legendary. But yeah.
And I'll mention just a comment on Dutch, and it's that I think he had a second child recently, so he's been a little bit quiet, and probably why the guide hasn't been updated. But I used the first go around and found it really helpful. But you're right, there are some things that haven't dated as well, and he's probably just hadn't had time to go through it again and polish it up.
Yeah.
That's why. But yeah, Boylan's videos I used to, and there was another one.
Yeah, there's a couple. I'll go have to dig them up. Azazel or something like that was a good one. Mm-hmm. There's a couple out there that were really good to watch and just see. But it's sometimes a lot easier when you see I should go after X target. But in terms of some of the play order, and there's a couple things I thought that were really cool, particularly when you're moving from one node to the next and Maw is charged and he puts on ability block.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of those nodes had or a lot of the waves had a Merc Lieutenant, so you could do this perfect timing if you got it all right of slowing everybody down with either Jubilee stun or the Ebony Maw ult, and get 2 turns in. But also Merc Lieutenant could give everybody all of the buffs, the offense up and all that kind of stuff, and speed, and then you could flip it all with Doc Ock. So there's some cool stuff in there. Definitely recommend checking out some videos as you get into these nodes, as they are helpful. So with that, as we talked about, I want to say 3 or 4 episodes ago, really the daily milestones, the gold spin, just don't have a lot of value for me. I've got 500 plus of the purple blitz orbs. The milestone orbs are worthless. Hint, hint, Scopely, you need to update the milestone orb already. So I've already gone ahead and spent a good 4 million on Doom. Probably spend a little bit more today and then finish him off tomorrow. So I will take him into Arena and hopefully can get back into the top 10 more consistently.
Baby Doom, which can be tricky.
Baby Doom's harder, man. It's harder. Telling you. Yeah. And we're referring to Baby Doom. We're talking about, the 5 yellow star that you get from the first round. It's harder to manage keeping him below 50 health, because he does the speed up and things once he goes below that. And heals up, of course.
And then he does his ult, and even if he doesn't get you, the guy that comes after with the 3 turns will get you.
Yeah.
Silver Surfer or somebody, Black Bolt, somebody that hits really hard.
Yep.
So you got to be very careful there.
Yep. So, overall, I was very frustrated with that last legendary node. I was trying to get through it pretty fast. Frankly, I don't see any way that you could actually one-shot that node. There's a couple in there, Human Torch, where he ults every turn, and a couple others. And then that last node is just dumb. Throwing in emos and all that stuff in there. It's just, so let me I'll do this very quickly. I do not like Dark Dimension. I do not like it at all. I find it. I'm actually going back in my mind here. I remember watching kind of a documentary type thing. It was around basketball, and they talked to some big name coaches like Krzyzewski of Duke, and some of the guys like I can't remember the pro guys' names, but anyway, they asked like how did you feel after you won the championship at whatever level, and their answer was always, I felt relieved. It wasn't elated that I won. I just felt relieved that it was over and that we won. That's how I feel about Dark Dimension every time. I'm just like, thank God it's over. I get a 24-hour break where I have to go back in. But anyway, the only other kind of key thing for me from a gearing and leveling perspective is I am switching alliances. First and foremost, I want to say big thanks to the Ultimate Alliance cluster, and particularly my alliance, the Asgardian Alliance. Great group of people, great Discord. I would definitely go out and check it out. Some really, really good stuff in there. And, shout out to a guy named Post. He was the one that helped me kind of figured out that the newest version of the legendary soup that has no legendaries except for Black Bolt that has been working in Arena. But really group of folks, good Discord, so definitely go check it out. And so the question is, where am I going? Well, Frid has finally suckered me in to joining him in the Deadpool Raiders, as he mentioned before. We are finally getting the band back together, finally getting back into the same alliance. It has been quite some time that we have been apart, so I'm looking forward to that. But I'm not sure I'm ready for Doom 60% every day, so I am feverishly doing some upgrades. I'm going to be in a different lane, the top lane, which is the baby mutant lanes, and then bio and skill. So I'm freaking out about skill. I've already been struggling in bio, so prioritizing Venom will be a big thing, and then some of the other skill characters as well.
I may or may not have been scaring Creative this whole time about it. You better not come here and make a mess of things now.
Better not embarrass me. I'm probably more concerned actually about the Greek raids and doing difficulty 3 every day.
Oh, yeah.
Because there's no heals. So you have to like literally kill the game if things go wrong.
If something goes wrong. Yeah. I got some weird lane that I had never done, so it's like, all right, I better do something decent here and not look awful. But I think, you always said that is your favorite game mode.
Yep. Absolutely.
Not sure if Doom Raid has changed your opinion, but at least they are really focused on that. So I think you'll enjoy fine-tuning your roster for that purpose. And you get some Silver Surfer out of it.
Yeah, so I made sure to ask what all of my Greek Raid assignments would be. And so I'm going to get City for Alpha, which is fine. I've done difficulty 3. You and I did it together back in, what was the alliance name? I'm blanking here. Let me go look at my cheat sheet. Gamma, back in Ragnarok. We always did difficulty 3 at the end of a particular thing. And I did fine. I do find that this was before some of the T15 upgrades that you still are struggling through, but I should be okay there. And then, unfortunately, I'm going to get the middle lane, like pure all the way up the middle in Gamma, which, for those that looked at my roster, know that I have not prioritized Shield or Wakandan or whatever else. So I will have to do some upgrades. But we talked before the show about, Black Widow could be very good in Doom and skill. And then certainly we'll need to bring up that team. So if people don't know, there's a flavor of a team with Fury, Black Widow, Hawkeye, Yo-Yo, and somebody else. And that's one of the few that's actually working up the middle. Maybe Shuri, I don't know. So anyway, I'm getting prepared for that mentally and in the roster.
Yeah, I don't know if it's hazing or the new guy takes that lane.
I think it's total hazing. That's what I was like, are you kidding me? You're supposed to give me the easy lane, work me into it. Nope, here's the deep end, insert creative.
That's what I got. And the one that works is the Wave 1. And then you add Shuri to that same team. Captain America, Hawkeye, Black Widow, those guys, they can get through it. It's a bit of a grind, and you have to play it. You can't auto or any of that, but um, at least you can do it without too much trouble. But
Okay.
yeah, welcome to the pain lanes, the middle lanes. Yep.
So thankfully it's a few weeks away because not even remotely ready for that. Anyway, well that's roster stuff. We did want to cover It's Very Nice.
Wow, it's very nice.
And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, we have yet another calendar that was added to the daily rewards, and it was filled with some pretty darn good stuff. And Frid, I couldn't figure out what it was for, beyond trying to counter the negative vibes of the Doom announcement, Doom ISO requirement announcement. Any guesstimates from your perspective?
I don't remember them mentioning that this was coming, or anything about it. But the looks of it, it looks a little bit like a Kestrel. There's a lot of tech and skill and the shield stuff that she needs. But I think there's some alien spores, some other stuff.
Yes, I needed those.
I mean, it was like, okay, this is super nice. Like, just because, but no real announcement. But I needed those laser torches that are coming, like 150 of them for a Misty Night. So I was like, all right, I'll take them. That's pretty good.
Absolutely. Free stuff. Well, we want to say thanks for that. And why don't we get into the news?
We interrupt this program for a special news bulletin.
All right, so we didn't get just one blog this week, Creative. We got two blogs. There was a weird, Tuesday?
Yeah, Tuesday. I don't think we've ever gotten anything on a Tuesday before.
And I guess, everybody was reeling from last Friday's vlog with the ISO requirements for Doom, as well as the Adam Warlock unlock requirements. So there was a whole brouhaha about that. Everybody was kind of up in uproar. But I wonder if this was part of it, saying, okay, we're going to let you know what this looks like to get the conversation going in a different direction.
Look, a shiny new object.
So what is the shiny new object? Well, the shiny new object is that the two sisters that have been neglected stepsisters since the beginning of the game, Gamora and Nebula, Thanos' daughters, if you don't know the lore. I won't get into it too much because we all know what happens if I try anything with Marvel lore. So the big one, I would say, is Gamora, right? The stat increases alone seem crazy. There was something that was like, what is it, 600%?
Yeah.
Change?
Armor, I think, maybe.
And 100% health and all that. I know she's really squishy and weak right now, but it was like, wow, let's fix this character. It gives you an idea about the power levels that we are, where you have to do 600% on something, or 100% on other things to just put them in a good spot. But she's also getting her father's mechanic, the empowered mechanic. And instead of it being based on having team members with the Infinity Stones, it is a charge mechanic. Did you read through it? Did it make sense to you on how it works?
Yeah, for some reason they thought we were dense and we couldn't figure it out. So
right, because they said it's a little bit intricate, so you may want to read carefully. But the way it is that she will, if she has Infinity Watch teammates, she loses her charge, right, and becomes empowered.
Mm-hmm.
If she doesn't, she comes with a stack of charges that will wear off over turns, and eventually she could become empowered on a regular team, but it could take like 4 turns, right? So the intent is that you can mix and match her with other teams, maybe a mixed team, so it's not completely out of the picture. Or if for some reason you target her with Silver Surfer, which I don't recommend, she will become empowered right away. What did you think? I don't remember that much about the empowered capabilities that she had, but is there some crazy stuff in there that gets you all excited about Gamora?
I'm gonna wait to see, kind of thing. You were doing some upgrades of Gamora and Nebula, and certainly they've got some interesting things happening on the kits. But I told you, I think you're jumping the gun. They're going to come out, they're not going to work, or they're going to be overhyped. They use the word Apex, which freaks people out because we've heard that before. So we'll see. But in general, the kit looks, strong for sure.
Yeah, and so that was Gamora. So pretty exciting about how this empowered plays out and what she's able to do. Then you have Nebula, which they give her a 20% boost across the board, flat on all her stats. So that's good. And she has a crazy move. Hers was more of a touch-up. They didn't change. Basically, Gamora empowers like a whole other character, right? But Nebula is the same, but they gave her some extra capabilities. And one that kind of got everybody talking was this chain that can go to 10 characters and cannot be countered and stuff. And I think it can go through stealth. It seemed like a raider's dream, right? Like, okay, or a DD4 dream. You just unleash her and she'll hit. And I think crits, it seemed pretty powerful. And we'll see if it works, first of all, when it's released. And then second, we'll see how we can deploy that on, it sounds like raids as well as Dark Dimension types of modes, or anything that has summons, right? You feast on those. But I couldn't think of anything else that was noteworthy about Nebula. I guess other than she's not farmable right now.
Yeah, so there was some kind of... So I noticed a couple weeks ago she showed up on Tana's farmability trackers, and like the date for her was, some way in the past date. I'm like, what? You can't farm Nebula? Sure enough, she's nowhere, and there will be some sort of announcement coming on this, which I find kind of odd. I don't know why they would do that, but we don't care. We've had her forever.
I had 300 extra shards when I did the upgrade. So we'll see. Again, some of it is dependent on the Infinity Watch, so it may not work. We'll have to play around with it when the patch hits, because I think these will be a part of that immediately when the patch hits, which is anticipated sometime next week. Okay. Then we got the actual blog on Friday where they announced the, I guess this is the 4th team member of the Infinity Watch. And as rumored, it was Moondragon. Now, one of the things that jumped at me creative here was when I read the basic, I was like, wait a minute, did I read that right? It has the mind control capability on a basic. And she's also a support with 2 healer abilities. And some of the healing abilities that do damage, which is the new thing, right? Not just pure
All
heals.
of the healing abilities do damage.
And flipping, and not flipping, but removing and stealing effects. And all, it's crazy, again, power creep central. But what do you think of this? I hope the basic doesn't work on an assist, because that would be insane if there's assist on this team. But what do you think of a basic having this mind control function?
Well, the keep in mind, it was if the character was charged. And so she's going to start with charged, just because if she's with the Infinity Watch allies. And then if things start dying on a kill, she'll get charged. So she could do this quite a bit. I mean, this is basically Loki mind control alt on a basic, which is just insane. A couple things. One is they did put a little bit of her backstory in the blog post, which is very helpful, particularly for Fred, who has no idea who Moondragon is, or me. I have no idea who Moondragon was. So I thought that was cool that they included that. So kudos to that. I forgot, someone had pinged me the other day, I think it was Hellhawk, was saying when a blitz kind of comes through, you should talk about the character and their backstory and all that. So this is interesting to see. But she's a support, and Adam Warlock is a support, but thankfully she actually heals. My biggest concern on her, and I may be going off the page here, she's got 2 heals, but the cooldowns are really high, 5 and then 6, and then one of them you don't even get to turn 3. So maybe the 5th member, if there's going to be one, actually gives ability energy. I'm a little concerned about this being a raid team if those cooldowns are that high. What do you think, Fred?
Now, is there a way that they get energy? That's the missing link, right?
We haven't seen that anywhere.
I'm sure that part of it will be there's an unannounced ally that they mentioned that assists her. So I bet you there's going to be some kind of energy generation associated with that, which may alleviate your concern of this high cooldowns on her abilities. If that doesn't happen, then maybe, because it could take a long time for you to get it going. So we'll see when we see the full team is if there's a battery like a Thanos Star-Lord type of person that gives energy to Moondragon. I think that's what's going to happen. Just speculating here.
And you were speculating, so she's skill, which I wasn't expecting at all. We kept thinking these would be all mystic kind of characters, but you were speculating that she may replace Night Nurse for Doom raids.
Right, because I thought, I'm going off memory, the heal was to all, or one of the abilities. It wasn't like Infinity Watch dependent.
Yeah, all of the heals are to all characters, or all teammates. So it's no specific stuff like, the olden days of Iron Fist where he only healed City and Defenders.
Yeah, so I was thinking, man, I just tier 15 Night Nurse. Would she be better, right, than Night Nurse for raids and DD4? And I don't know. I mean, we'll have to see her, but maybe the cooldowns is the killer.
The answer is no. Because I cannot take a 4 yellow star character into these things unless it's got the focus of Emma when it does all these things. So, your healer has to be pretty high because of the health pool, and the healing is 30% of. So I don't see a 4 yellow star character working for me. For the whales, maybe.
Yeah, I think eventually, right?
Yeah.
So that is a good point that I keep forgetting that on an even playing field, maybe. But since it's going to take us a year to get her to where Night Nurse is, then it's a no, right? For a year at least.
Yeah. So why don't you tell us about the release method then, since I gave you a segue there.
Yeah, so the way that she's going to be released is around the Pride festivities. So we're heading into Pride Month, and that worked last year for Negasonic, Teenage Warhead. And they use the Unity Orb, which was that rainbow-looking orb. And as you remember, it's kind of the anti-venom, was it Moon Knight type of event with the 3 confusing milestones, and you have to blitz and do raids to get shards so you can open orbs, and then those orbs give you
more of the
points
shards and ports
for another milestone, and the math gets really complicated, and you have to do a bunch of work, and when it's all said and done, you end up with a 4-star Moondragon with maybe halfway through 5.
Yep.
Because it's not like an event that you can control a little bit better. So I mean, we're going to be doing this stuff anyway, right? Because we play a lot. And
well, we probably will have a Colleen or a Misty blitz going on during the event as well. So absolutely, yeah.
Right, and you have to use characters using the quirky tag, which is what it's called. So we'll see who's in there when they patch the game. But, we're almost using our full rosters when it comes to blitzing now.
Mm-hmm.
So if some of the deadbeat teams have the quirky node and you need it, maybe we go back to a strategy where we tank a little bit. Or we do that for unimportant characters that we already have. Like America Chavez is coming as part of the Pride celebration. We could do the tank and win, with that character and get as many Unity ores as we want. Okay. I'm not sure the timing of the event. I don't think they said it.
No, they didn't.
One thing they mentioned was that the ISO campaign will have fragments. I don't know if it's for the duration or for 24 hours or when, but you will get some orbs out of the ISO campaign. So even more reason to refresh those cores on the ISO campaign.
Or just like me, just start hoarding your ISO 8 energy campaign to the 500 level so you can just go nuts. I've never bought more. I've never done the refreshes in ISO, but just, plenty of other things to do, I guess.
That somehow you have 6 million ions and I have none. I don't know how that works. So what else is coming with this Pride Month celebration, Creative? Anything else in there?
Yeah, I think that was an interesting thing here and there. I don't think it's really the Pride piece, but it's Iceman. I didn't think he was part of that group, but he is getting a costume that will be rewarded from arena attacks, win or lose. So we're getting more costumes for free. I guess no one bought the $50 and $35 costumes, so they're going to give us these. So to date, I have not bought any. This one I would look at because I like the X-Men team. And then there's some changes coming to the War Store, everybody's favorite store. We just love it so much. Ravager Bruiser is going to leave the store. I know everyone is pretty worked up about that, but he will be replaced by Longshot. So, as expected, Longshot, a key character for a lot of things, is going to a hard-to-farm place, and he's going to get in line behind Ghost and everything else in that store. But they did mention some other positive things, so we'll keep it that way, that finally, Uniques are going to get a dedicated slot in the gold store. Wow. This is taking some time. Unfortunately, there's still 2,000 of these different types, and you're still focused on RNG, voiding on the one slot, but at least you have the opportunity to see one. So be prepared to see a lot of whatever you don't need.
I think this is going to be like an auto buy just because what you always needed, right? They've proven now that even powerful characters go back to things that have been around for a while, right? Like Kestrel.
Yep.
So, OMG recommends if you're below 61 on any, go ahead and do it so that you can at least take one character. Unless you have hundreds, I don't see any reason not to just buy what you see for the 72K. I mean, unless you're strapped for gold or something. But...
Yeah, I was going to say, a few of our listeners may have some commentary about not having any gold whatsoever, but certainly, yep. All right.
I mean, we're planners and hoarders, I guess. So
yeah.
Like for us,
but yeah, we'll definitely be stockpiling there. So that's a good positive change. However, we would still like to see that you need 61 of these pieces and you get one slot is a bit ridiculous. Anyway, as expected, the blog post had nothing about Polaris or Shatterstar or Multiple Man and their farmability. Frid, you were expecting something in there. I said, no, Frid, they've already given you the answer on Polaris. She's in 2 strike passes, and she is in some offers. So we'll talk about that in just a second with the offers. The numbers. And then, of course, zero mention of what has gotten the community in a uproar. We just, saw the blog post last week and kind of reacted. And that was the ISO 8 requirements being added to Doom Raids. And not just any requirements, level 5. So this had a lot of vitriol out there. And I think I saw a video from Valley saying that, the envoys contacted Scopely and expressed a lot of frustration. And there was a response of, there's a long process to change things, blah, blah, blah. Don't get your hopes up is how I read it. But Frid, I'm going to go back to what you had just kind of threw out there, which is this is going to make recruiting that much harder. Because now you got to say, well, do you happen to have your skill guys all 5? Because that's the lane we need filled. I mean, it's just, yeah.
Yeah, and I think what made this even worse than it already is, not the actual in-game impact and recruiting and all the repercussions that this has, was their explanation. It was, you should listen to that again. Like, it's the worst, not explanation as to why you're doing this. Like, don't treat us like a bunch of goof. I mean, just say it's like an economic decision, right? It's a moneymaker. We didn't sell enough ISOs and we're trying to make money. Trying to say that it's for testing or something doesn't make any sense. It's creating another bottleneck and hurdle that we need to feel some pain for so that we spend money. And no word on increasing the amount of materials, ISO, ions, any of it. Maybe that's what's going to come out of it. The other thing that also upset some people was that in their response, the process that they describe is an amazing, like, 10-step second layer, third layer review and verification. And everybody said, well, wouldn't it be nice if you follow this for your game? And when you release a feature, if you went through this process, maybe we wouldn't have as many bugs. So I know it's very different things. I kind of say jokingly, you work even more closely than me on software development and stuff. And you know how painful that bugs can be and hard to detect and all that. But actually, this week, I didn't see anything from a bug perspective that I could remember, so that's good. But
we've also had the code now for multiple weeks, so they're already known at this stage.
They should at least employ some of that process to their releases, and hopefully we'll see a decrease in bugs. Well, they get another chance here with 5.5 and see what we get.
Yeah.
But everybody was pretty upset about this and about the ISO requirements. But they were also upset about another thing, and you've alluded to it already. And I will get into that as we run the numbers. And that is that for the first time, I think, ever, there is a character completely gated behind a paywall that happens to be required for a legendary. And it's not just, I'd say, a paywall. There has been paywall, but this is the biggest paywall we've ever seen.
This is by far the highest paywall. I was thinking about that, So Hella was the problem for Black Bolt. You had bought an offer, and I think we're fine. I think Sif would have been a problem, and then, recently for Doc Ock, X23 was the problem. You had bought an offer, so you were fine. But you had buy one offer. Maybe it was up to $50. But now they're going, the Scopely effect is continuing. So Frid, why don't you break this down for us? This is some good stuff you've done here.
Yep. So let's just start, like, if you're free to play. I'm sorry, forget about it, right? I mean, you're going to get 100 shards out of the Strike Pass, which is a 3-star Polaris. You need 210 shards. And you'll see what I'm going to describe, why I'm saying that. Forget about it. So let's say that you do buy 2 Strike Passes, which was the only release method for her that we know of so far, other than the offers. That means you will have spent $40 and you have 200 shards, which is still 110 short of getting the 5-star. You'll get 5 from the calendar, right, that they give us. So that's 105 Polaris shards that you'd be short. So where is she currently? Well, the 2 legitimate places that she is in is the Premium Orb and the Mega Orb. I believe she's in the Basic and Ultimates, but we're not even going to talk about that. It's not even worth. If you're using Premium Orbs to get Polaris, I did a calculation, and every Premium Orb is $5.22. This is based on the $100 core offer. You get like 8,000 plus cores for $100. So each Premium Orb is $5.22. And based on the average drops, you would need 940 Premium Orbs to get 105 Polaris shards from premiums. Do you know how much that is in dollars? $5,000. Now, granted, I mean, you'll be getting other stuff, but for our mature rosters, not a whole lot of stuff, right?
Right.
No Yo-Yo. Well, she's not even there, but no Anti-Venom or just a little bit of it. Yeah. And $5,000. So this is not a viable route. No. Let's just say.
Next,
we have the Mega Orb. Now, she is in the Mega Orb. But, these are very hard to come by. Mm-hmm. They don't show up on anything, really, other than Dark Dimension. Sometimes some milestones give you these. And the best offer we've ever seen is a $5 offer, right? And I think you can only buy it once. But Forgetting all that, let's say you've been buying the $5 forever and you have a stash. You need 66 mega orbs to get 105 Polaris. This is at $5, $330, which is much better than premium. But let's see,
you can't buy
even
them.
Do it because you can't buy them.
I just went look. There's no even offers for mega orbs.
I think there's the other one they do is $20, which would make this crazy expensive. So unless you're the luckiest man in the world, right, and pull her on the first one, 100, which is not going to happen. Okay, what are some other possibilities? Well, they do a team orb, right, for these when the legendary event comes, like the Asgardian orb, now the X-Force orb that's out there right now. This has typically been seen when they do a 3-2 combination, right? 3 new characters, 2 very old characters like Cable and Deadpool. So it's a bad orb because you're like, I don't want to get Deadpool, right? I hit the 80 and I get a Deadpool, and that doesn't feel good. Unless you're an early player, then maybe it'll help you across the board. I don't know if they're going to do this. It's only 4 characters instead of 5. So you would get a 1 in 4 every time of Polaris. And let's pretend they do go this route. You still will require 69 of these orbs, and they cost $450 each. So that's $358 of orbs to get this.
But this one you could actually get a solid team, but still $358 is a bit ridiculous.
Right, at least you're getting long shot Shatterstar and multiple man, which is good. Now they are. I think there's an offer out there. And I don't know if it's capped, meaning can you buy it as much as you want, or is it just 2? I think it's $20 for 6 of these orbs. So if you went that route and it was unlimited, then it would only be $228. But I don't think that they let you buy unlimited of these. So you're looking at between $250 and $350. At least you're getting a good team. The other way is if they bring back the orb, the Blitz orb, the one that's 675 cores. You would need about 11 of these, and that would run you for 675, $90. But at least you're guaranteed Polaris if that's what you're going after.
Yeah, I don't see them bringing that back though, right? Go ahead, sorry.
Did you open some? You opened some of these,
yes,
right?
Yes, I'd open these in the beginning to get an extra star because I thought I didn't think she would be required for this kind of stuff. So I figured after the Strike Pass, I would at least have her 3-star forever. So, but yeah, I've spent 3,000 cores and I've gotten a few extras. So anyway,
not enough though, right?
No, not even close.
Yeah. So we're talking $90 if they bring it back, which I don't think they've done, right? Before.
No. Mm-mm.
Maybe that's one thing they do. And this would be a viable route if you have a stash of cores or you do want to spend. Final way, which I guess is the most cost effective, which probably what we will see, which we always see, is the character offer. And this one is 50 shards for $30. And you can buy 2. So you would get 100. You still need 5 from somewhere. But I'm sure you'll get that from just some random thing you opened. And that would be $60, which is the cheapest. This is on top of 40, right, that you've already spent for the Strike Pass. So it's a $100 character. That's not even that amazing. It's just to get a 5 Adam Warlock.
And you're assuming that they're going to bring the $30 offer. I have a strong suspicion that we will see the $50 offer instead, or on top of this.
Oh, the 35. The Hella was like a 35, so it could be the 35, which would be 70, 100, somewhere in there, on top of the 40 you already spent. So yeah, I mean, this is the most expensive character we've seen tied to a legendary. We still don't know about Multiple Man and Shatterstar, but Shatterstar has been around for a while. Those were 2 events, and Shatterstar has been in the Gamma, so there's something there. I don't think he'll be a problem. it's her, right?
Mm-hmm.
She's the problem. Longshot's going to be tough too for a lot of people.
Yeah.
But at least we know, and I think there's about a month to go. So there'll be time. But with Polaris, if this is what stands, what do you think? I mean, we're just going to have to wait for the second run like Black Bolt? Remember how long that take?
Yeah. For those of you, the long-time listeners, over a year ago, actually it's now a year and 4 months, February of last year, we were in the Black Bolt waiting room, and we talk about it every week. No, I think this is now the Scopely effect officially coming down. The Iron Curtain has dropped, and this is highway robbery. This is atrocious. I don't like it. I mean,
that was Black Bolt was what drove us to these sheets to start creating, like, what are the materials that we need, and we did it by hand because there wasn't anything then, and now we have all these tools. But it was months and months of waiting. But I mean, Black Bolt changed the game. Do you remember?
Oh yeah, I mean,
like easy mode.
Yeah, there was the easy button for the Ultima 7 raids. Yeah, absolutely, totally different. Now I don't know if Adam Warlock is going to do that, but we'll see. But I for $100 just to have the chance to unlock a legendary, plus now you also have to gear all these characters up. This is just more stuff on top of more stuff that is putting a bad taste in my mouth. So
yeah, and don't forget that you need Jubilee too. Don't forget about that.
Oh right, well yeah, I mean yeah, and so
on top of all this,
there's a lot of people like, where the heck's Jubilee? She was supposed to be next. Well, they have decided to push her out a little bit, a couple more weeks. So we expect her around, I think, the 14th of June. But a lot of people are annoyed at that because they wanted Jubilee because she's a great character and she really rounds out the team. So, with all this, Frid, one of the things I did last week, and I posted it in Discord, was we called it the Scopely screw card, and then we changed to the scorecard just because we didn't want to be overly negative. But just doing a tally each week, because there's so much drama week to week with Scopely and their personnel and the decisions they're making. And so we did a quick scorecard. So for those of you in our Discord, you can see what we posted last week. We might do that. I got to see. Summertime's a little bit harder. But it was just a good exercise to say, okay, they did a bunch of positive things. And you talked at the beginning of the show that we're flush with, lower gear, purple gear and all that kind of stuff. We're getting more training mats. And so we don't have nearly the constraints at the lower levels. They're giving us event after event with the materials. But at the same time, they continue to do these bonehead type decisions and tick off the player base. And it's not like one bad decision. It's a series of bad decisions. And that's like putting more and more salt and then some vinegar into the wound for me. So we just did an exercise of just tallying it up and saying, across the board, of course it was very subjective scoring. I would go back and change a few things, but ultimately it wasn't enough to keep it overly positive. But Frid, anything you want to add into that?
Yeah, no, it was funny. One of the questions in the Discord was, well, what's the scoring method? I was like, whatever Creative felt at the time when he wrote it.
Very, very subjective. Very subjective.
But yeah, I mean, maybe that's what this evolves into, some kind of, in the Discord. Maybe people can provide input as to what they like. So we'll see where we take it. But it was interesting to take stock about how they do something good and then just kill it with something bad. Sometimes the same thing, right? It was like, okay, this part was good, but then had the effect that was bad over here.
Yep.
So yeah, it's an interesting thought exercise. So we'll keep pondering on how to package it and share it with you guys. But in the Discord, you can go look at it. It has its own dedicated channel.
Well, Frid, I know we have been wanting to get into some alliance management, some alliance war stuff. We're running a little long. Do you have any objections to us just kind of teasing some of that and covering it next week?
Yeah, so we can give it the time it deserves. And I thought, in the culmination of you coming back home, not home, but coming back together again after this period of being apart, it would be interesting to reflect on what did we discover in these other alliances? What are the different styles? What are some of the things that are challenging across the board? And I think it'll be a fruitful discussion to have and just reflect back on the last, well, how long has it been?
It's been a while. I needed to go back and look, but it's been at least 2 months, I think.
Yeah, it's been a few months of this setup. And then we can compare notes and just share with the listeners the experiences, and just hopefully if you're an alliance leader, you can get our perspective on how we thought all these experiences were and what you can do for your own alliance. So let's leave it at that, and that'll give you a week of Deadpool so you can kind of gather your thoughts on that. So it's kind of the culmination of a journey of, hey, we went from leaders of an alliance for a couple of years. It got disbanded. We went together, then we went apart, and then we're back together. You kind of tell the story of that journey.
It's like a bad romantic comedy or something.
I know. Terrible rom-com. At least we had the show, and
this is true.
You're like, I don't know what you're upgrading, so I have been pestering people on the gearing and leveling with every upgrade that I do that pops up in the game. I've been posting it in there so people can see what I've been up to. So you can get a preview of what I'm going to talk about if you join us in our Discord, which will be in the show notes. How else can they get in touch with us, Creative?
Oh boy, we're at a lot of places. The old-fashioned method, rnginGame@gmail.com. We're on Twitter. We're on YouTube. And then, of course, Frid's second favorite method nowadays, leaving us a Apple review. If you give us one of those, we'll read that on the show as well. That helps us get discovered and further expand the audience. Yeah. But why don't we plan to cover alliance management first? Because we've had that as a topic for way too long. We have not gone back to our original roots on that. So we'll cover that first so we can't skip it next week. And hopefully some of our listeners are either alliance leaders or certainly can benefit from that conversation.
Yep. So yeah, again, all those methods are good, but I'd say the Discord has continued to grow. There's more, listeners that are very active. They like to ask questions, and we interact with them. They have good insights. We've seen now strategies and videos for war and for different kinds of things. So definitely leverage that if you have a question about how do I beat the Kestrel Shield or whatever else, and you have access to the MSFGG bot and the Ultron bot, so come hang out with us. And don't forget to thumbs up the rules when you land so that you can get access to all of the channels. So again, the link will be on the show notes. Awesome. Anything else there?
No, I think that's it. We've teased our next show, and it'll be interesting to see as summertime comes if the Alliance War strategy changes. Last summer it was load up your defense and don't care. So I'm a little worried about Heroes for Hire and Kestrels and Silver Surfers on defense and Doom. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, we'll see how that goes over the next few weeks. But as always, stay safe, stay healthy.
We'll talk next week.